Okay, so the last section that we'll go over in this course is law of cosines, which is chapter 6.2. Our essential question didn't change, right? We're still looking at how can we use trig to find the missing side length or triangles in a, or sorry, angles in a triangle that is not a right triangle. So last section we looked at law of cosines where we needed a side and the angle opposite of it and then some third piece of information. Well, if we don't have all that, then we have to turn to law of cosines. So law of cosines, if can be used if we have three sides of a triangle, we can use it to find all the angles, right? If I have two sides of a triangle and the angle in between, I can use law of cosines. In geometry, we used to call that side angle side, right? I've got two sides, I've got the angle in between. What this says is we can use law of cosines to find all the other measurements of the triangle. Okay, so we have our formulas here, really just depending on what we have and what we're looking for. If I'm looking for side A, I'm going to use this first formula. If I'm looking for side B, I'm going to use the next one. And maybe side C is missing, I'll use this one here. Okay, we can change these and kind of isolate cosine if I was looking for an angle. So the formulas here on the right are just same formula here, except cosine is isolated. All right, so they've moved away the b squared and the c squared, divided, just so that cosine could be by itself. Okay, so it's really up to you which format you want to use based on what information you're looking for. We do have to make sure, though, that the angle is always opposite of its side. So if I have angle A, it's opposite of side A. Angle B, opposite of side B. And angle C is opposite of side C. Okay, we have to keep that orientation so that the formulas work out the way we want them to. All right, let's look at an example. So it says here, solve the triangle. We know that means find side A, B, and C, and then angle A, B, and C. But it's giving us all the sides. So we have side A is 8, side B is 3, side C is 9. We're just looking for all the angles. So that tells me I'm probably going to use these formulas just to make it a little easier for myself. So opposite of angle A is side A. So this is 8. Opposite of angle B is side B, so this is 3, not drawn to scale. And then opposite of side C is, of angle C, sorry, is side C, which is 9. So we have all the information in our triangle that was given. Our job now is to look for the angles. I'm just going to start with the biggest angle. It's just easier to start with the largest angle. And because C is the largest side, that means angle C is going to be the largest angle. So I'll start with C. I'm going to use this here, and it says cosine of C equals a squared plus b squared minus c divided by 2ab. And this should be square, so I was kind of looking. This should be squared here. Okay, so then if I plug in everything I know a, b, and c. So I'm going to put here 8 squared plus 3 squared minus 9 squared over 2 times 8 times 3. And I can plug all of that into my calculator, and that's what cosine of angle C equals. Cosine of angle C. Okay, so when I plug that in the calculator, I get 8 squared, so 64 minus 9 minus 64 plus 9, right? 8 squared plus 3 squared. And then minus 9 squared, which is 81. I'm going to divide all of that by 2 times 8 times 3. I end up with negative 0.61667. Okay? So I have to make sure that I know that this is cosine of my angle. It's not my angle. So in order to find my angle, just C, I have to do cosine inverse. Okay, so I'm going to say C equals cos inverse of negative 0.1667. I'm going to do a second cos, so cos inverse of that previous answer. Hit enter, and I get now that the angle is 99.59 degrees. Okay, so almost 100 degrees. So that lets me know my largest angle is 100 degrees, or 99.59. Right, so I'll put that here. And now I can choose to use law of cosines again to find angle B, angle A, or I can go back to law of I can use law of cosines to find all my other angles, right? Go up here, or I can go back to law of sines, which I'm going to do. Just going to go back to law of sines. It's just kind of faster and easier. I don't have to plug everything into a calculator. And I know side C and angle C, so I'm going to say sine of C over C equals, let's say, sine of A over A. So that means sine of 99.59 over C, which is 9, equals sine of A, I don't know, but then I know side A is 8. Okay, so then I just go through, cross multiply, I get 8 times sine 99.59 equals 9 times sine A. Right, and then I can divide by 9 on both sides. And I end up with plugging all this in the calculator. Let's see what we get. I get 8 sine of 99.59. All that divided by 9. I get that 0.876 is sine of A. Right, but I have to make sure I use the inverse because I want A. I don't want sine of A. So I'm going to go inverse of that previous answer equals 61.22. 61.22 is my angle A. All right, so I already have the largest angle. Now I have the medium angle because it's across from the medium side. And I don't need any law of sine or cosine to find B. All right, I can just use the fact that all three of these are supposed to add up to 180. If I add up what I have, all right, so I think about A, oops. There we go. Think about A plus B plus C equals 180. All right, and I already have A as 61.22. I don't know B yet. I have C as 99.59. All that's supposed to equal 180. I can add up what I have. So 61.22 plus the 99.59, and then subtract from 180. To say, well, B has to be 19.19. Right, mine says negative because I put the 180 second, right? I made the 180 negative, but it should be positive 19.19. So now I have all the missing pieces that I was looking for. 19.19, and it happens to be that B is the smallest angle because it's across from the smallest side.